How a marriage becomes toxic. Well, this is the topic of this video. I have noticed that be arranged marriages or love marriages, most of them fall victim to either major conflict, relationship instability, abuse, or toxicity. Like you can love a person and still living with them become really painful. Why is that? Shouldn't people live peacefully if they love each other? But that barely happens. The reason is because love has nothing to do with people's compatibility and cooperative coexistence with each other, and that is why you can love a person and still can't live with them peacefully. The first reason is compatibility between two people. Compatibility in relationship is about how similar they are to each other and how many differences they have between them. Look, there are always some differences between two people. Some share less differences and more common traits, while some share more differences than similarities. And these differences can be anything, like mental maturity, which is about how well they understand the relationship, the responsibility towards it, and can think beyond personal interest, do self reflection on their actions, etc. Emotional maturity is about ability to express and regulate their own emotions as well as be able to understand and act appropriately towards other emotions too. Well, it's about one's emotional behavior towards oneself or another. Next, personality and temperament is about how they behave with others or in different situations, like are they selfish, manipulative, or mature, kind of like that. Well, background is about where they come from or what is their upbringing, like religious. It could be religious background, modern beliefs, traditional beliefs, different communities, etc. And perspectives is about what they prioritize in the relationship and how they view certain things in a relationship, like responsibilities, relationship finance, relationship expectations, lifestyles, career, and goals, and the list goes on. So, when two people who have low compatibility, meaning they have more differences than similarities, and come to coexist together through marriage, they end up clashing more in their day to day life. Actually, not all differences become problems in relationship. Only those differences become problem which matters to you in our relationship. Like you may not mind a person's background, but you may mind how they view money, responsibility in relationship. And that situation can become a one step more complicated when your partner prioritizes something else in relationship, like putting importance into the background more than the money responsibility. What I mean is that differences in priorities create friction in relationship rather than just simple differences in areas. So when people share many differences in their relationship, that becomes their obstacle in relationship stability. And that's when the problem starts. See, friction or conflict is common when there is difference, but whether a relationship becomes stable or painful to coexist depends on how well you manage those differences. But the differences alone doesn't turn a relationship toxic. The toxicity comes when the conflict due to differences are not properly communicated, understood, and compromised for mutual benefits, but rather try to eliminate the difference with aggression, abuse, manipulation, or conditions with only self interest. So, if your cooperative coexistence is one sided instead of working towards mutual development, it can escalate into larger conflict because of mental immaturity, emotional immaturity, self centered mindset, or having no group thinking in a relationship. This is the most important condition. Let's understand how conflict arises through differences in relationship with few examples. Suppose a couple comes from different religious background, like one partner comes from a highly religious background, believes in God deeply, while the other partner comes from modern family, believes in evidence based facts, or basically they don't believe in religious God. So when this difference instead of being acknowledged, respected, or understood, becomes the thorn in one life, and they try to change other person's beliefs or looking down on them and end up creating resentment or disappointment. Let's take a financial view. Suppose one person thinks finance is both partner responsibility since we live together and share resources, so they have to contribute equally and take care of their personal spendings. But the partner thinks finance is my partner's responsibility in the relationship and they have to fulfill my needs and demands as my partner. So this financial view differences in relationship puts strain on relationship financial situation, creating natural friction. And when the friction is resolved through conflicts, problem escalates, or when the problem is not properly communicated, understood, or ignored. Disappointment, resentment, or stuck in a relationship feeling emerge. This one is also common source for conflicts, which is living arrangement expectation in the relation. Like one partner wants to live only with their partner and their family members, while another partner wants them to live together with their parents, their partner-in-laws, not separately. Conflicts builds as expectations are not communicated or expressed clearly at an early stage in a relationship, and this difference becomes a problem when the difference is not worked without understanding or necessary compromise, but rather they judge, blame, or force their partner to change their expectations, turning the difference into major conflict. The last example I want to include is career view. One partner wants to work after marriage and build their career because being successful as is important to them as they have high ambitions, but other partner want their partner to stay at home and live a home life because of societal role or family tradition they believe in. Naturally problems will arise when the difference is not talked about or do compromises depending on the partner's priorities or what is important to you. See, relationships naturally have conflicts if they have differences and people have differences. And I have begin talking about this over and over again, understood it. But problems appear when both partners, instead of working with their differences or reaching mutually beneficial terms, end up using aggression, showing no understanding, or doing poor communication, thinking in their own interests, only to turn friction into big conflicts. And then those conflicts turn toxic when they fail to work with their differences and turn it into a topic for arguments over and over again, building resentment, disappointment, or even problems for others.